everybody home? Oh.
Nobody will let you listen to you. No, they give it no. Because
Flat. This is what we call this area Saltbush Flat. Really, because it does have a bit of an abundance of saltbush, which is this stuff here. This is private land owned by a local farmer that allows me to tie up here so we can tie up. If you can't hear me, let me know.
No, all good, I can hear you.
Yeah.
And you've got your back to me.
So over here, we have an area over here called Craignor. And this area over here really was where they had one of the old river cottages and ferry crossings back in the original days. So as we go further down the river today, you'll see the remnants of the old ferry master's hut. So that's that area. And then what we're going to do is make our way up here. But you'll see there's a whole different array of reeds on the riverbank, and you've got the willows. The willows were introduced to the Murray River by the Chinese, and they used to be used back in the day as navigational markers for the old steamboats that used to go up and down the river. Because what they used to do when it was really sort of shallow, these would grow in the deeper water, so they'd eventually form a channel because they'd go down the river, but a part would break off and they'd seed, and they'd flow down the river into the deeper water and then make their way along the bank and attach to the bank, and then they'd reseed and regrow. So you see a lot of them now. They think that they're a bit of a pest. But it's a bit of a debate because they've got good sort of things where they've got a really complex root system. So they hold the riverbank together, which is good to stop the erosion, etc., etc. But also they take a lot of the oxygen out of the water, which is not too good. So what we might do is we'll wander up here a bit more and get into a bit of group. The main thing with this is just to have a bit of a stretch the legs, have a bit of a chat about some of the bits and pieces around the place. Just see what's around us. Environment. You might also see a few nests in the trees of birds, etc. Because you've got plenty of different gum trees, a whole different array of different types of gum. So you can see over there you've got the stringy bark and the box tree, but we'll see those. Just try and sort of keep together. Heat every minute. That's where it was. So you wouldn't, as you go up this swim, you really wouldn't think that that's the case, but it is the case. So I don't know if you don't know, this flows all the way down to the Coorong at Gorwa and comes out at Gorwa. But along the way, the salt's more denser fresh water sinks to the bottom, which means then they have to have these extraction pumps that they put in along the riverbank in various locations. Generally before the weeds, there's probably out of the river. So it's slowly changing bit by bit by bit. But obviously, the more years like this, the more rain you get, the more you get water coming down from Mount Kosciuszko and the high rainfall in Victoria, etc. It helps, excuse me, helps to stabilise it a little bit. But you've got whistling kites, you've got peregrine falcons, which are a different form of bird of prey. The whistling kite can grow. Yeah, break out your jogging shoes.
I went to 2 people with So you're staying on to it? We had, I think, somewhere. I don't know where. Yes.
And from a safety point of view, our life jackets are stowed in the lockers to the forward of the vessel, and a couple more under the seats at the rear. Exit through the stairs at the front should you need to, or on either side of me here at the rear. Over. You're at Riverview Lodge, that's the name of this place. Very lovely little spot along the river, much sought after by locals and that, but the owner at the same time keeps it very private. He allows the Princess and one other tour boat to come in here once a week and do just what you're doing. He also allows these houseboats to be there. They're supplied with power and water, and generally are a very secure and safe spot. So they complete cliffs laid down as the floor or bed of what was a rather large lake or inland sea that was formed here about 4 or 5 million years ago. Scientists call that area of that lake that was Lake Bungania, and it was formed by an uplift of land which occurred about 80 or 90 miles or kilometres ahead of us, and basically diverted the river as it was in those days down to the south and the east, so that it had to exit into the ocean round about Gambia or perhaps Nelson in Victoria. Now, a million or so years later, the land subsided, and it did that because it's way below our feet. There are tectonic plates, and these tectonic plates are connected to the Flinders and Mount Lofty Ranges. They allowed that, what was an uplift, to lower again, and the river came back to the area we now know it to be, roughly. Of course, it was vastly different than what we see today. What was also vastly different was that there are no willow trees, and they were only introduced around about 1802 to 1810 to provide the riverboat captains of the day some idea as to where the banks of the river were or are, so they didn't run into them, and also to assist in the consolidation of the river banks, and that worked fine in the day. But unfortunately for us, the willows still persist. They're really invasive. They're slowly working their way up the river. They now really aren't much of a problem up north of, say, Morgan, but they're getting that way, and it won't be long before they reach Loxton and Renmark. Now, they're a bit of a curse for us because being deciduous trees imported from England and South Africa, they drop their leaves during the winter. The leaves fall to the bottom of the river, get settled into the slurry and mud there over hundreds of years, and then our other introduced friend, the European carp, pops down there and digs around in the mud and slush and dirties up our water quite significantly. So the water here is a bit murkier than it is up further upstream where there are no willows. Now there's another introduced species here on the cliffs, and that's the pepper tree. You can see a good example right there. Now the pepper tree was introduced for an entirely different reason, and that reason was to provide shade for people in the outback, and it did that very well and quite quickly, because the immigrants of the day were certainly not used to the heat that we have in Australia, and the pepper tree provided that, and it did so at the same time are not using very much water, of which there wasn't much around. So 2 introduced species of trees. One done a great job for Australia, the other at the time worked but not so good now. Now you begin to see the layers, horizontal layers in the cliff, where as the river receded and flowed past the cliff, it chewed those layers out as we see them today. Given the fact these cliffs are very soft, and if you say, talk in terms of cliffs in Europe and other places, they're granite and ironstone, quite a bit harder. These ones are soft. If you get up there, you can almost scrape them apart with your fingers. But erosion is playing a huge part in what we see. And whilst the horizontal layers are eroded by the river as the river flows by, and mind you, when it was 10 feet higher than it was, and bearing in mind that Lake Bungania was reputed to be 60 feet higher than where we are right now, then over the millions of years, the river has flowed constantly past these cliffs and eroded them away. Now if you look straight out to it, and that was caused by the fact that the tectonic plates, which are kilometres under our feet, are connected, I think as I mentioned, to the Mount Lofty and Flinders Ranges. So they have an earthquake there. If you imagine a sponge cake on a plate, cut into quarters or whatever, triangles, and you shake the plate, the sponge should, if it's cooked properly of course, will shake. And today, they're a very important part of the erosion process. And nature, whilst it gave us the cliffs, is pretty keen to take them back. And that's what it's doing. Erosion is causing these cliffs to fall into the river. And behind that gum tree is a great example of a vertical crack that was caused by earth movement. Water takes over, and that's what you get. And to the left of that gum tree is a great chunk of a cliff that's slid down probably 1 million or 2 years ago, and it just sits there waiting to fall all the way. Now, I'll show you a little bit later on the nest of a particular bird called the fairy martin who lives in these cliffs, and he's got a really odd way of building his nest. We're coming up to what is, apart from vertical cracks, horizontal cracks in the cliff caused by the river. You'll notice here a couple of metres out of the water, there's quite a large section of the cliff that is undercut. And in some areas, I'm told that undercut goes back 8 or 10 metres. And of course you remember from your primary school days, we're on the outside of a downstream bend, the water's flowing quicker, and a couple of 100 years ago, before the locks and weirs were put in, this river at certain times of the year flowed very quickly. As I mentioned, very soft cliffs. Then sooner or later only one thing can happen, and that is that that cliff will fall into the river. Now I hope we've timed this trip correctly and we don't have a problem. I suspect we won't, but that's a great lesson in how erosion works. 200 metres. You see the side of the cliff is kind of shaped at the top as a round dome with a number 2 on it, a bit of green grass there. That's the dome, the skull cap if you like. Moving down you can see a face, chin, etc. That's known as the warrior's head, or the Sphinx of the river. Now, I know that that's a really good story because nobody ever challenges me. There's one of our raptors flying past. Now I'll go up a little bit and turn around so those...
Must be a reason why. Yeah. It could be.
Just coming up on some of those fairy martin nests right now, about 30 metres up the cliff. See the little round holes at the top?
Yeah. They look like wasp's nests.
Yeah, they do.
Why they're
tiny.
called the
Yeah, they are.
bottle swallow. Okay, we'll just slip across the other side and see what we can find. Hopefully a few birds. Unfortunately at this time of the year it'll be very few. We're all in the wetlands out to our right, tucked up against those hills. There's quite a large lake in there, very shallow, and it's easy pickings in terms of hunting, and they're out of the wind and quite sheltered compared to every 2 kilometres along the river, a sign like that, which denotes how far we are from the mouth of the River Murray. So we're 176 kilometres by river from Goolwa, and that's used for the houseboat skippers and hirers who can refer to their charts and discover exactly where they are, how far they are from the bakery or the hamburger shop. And every boat on the river would have a copy of the charts which indicate that mileage. Now, off to the right again, there's 2 gum trees, quite close together. They're large around, one has a scar on its side. That's where an Aboriginal canoe was cut many years ago. Coming up to the orchard, which of course is closely now, just past the pumping station on our right, you will notice a bird. That's a darter, in fact a female darter. And there are 3 nests in that tree just below where she's sitting. I can tell she's in this by entwining the branches of the willow together, pooing all over them for a couple of months until they get a nice solid base. And see, to the left of where she took off, there's a darter sitting on a nest. Anyway, they poo all over them, throw them and swim. The pig goes in the water, and he just swims. See the long leg? The way they swim gives them their nickname snake bird, and there's an adult male sitting on that dead branch with glossy black chest. In the summertime there'll be nothing to see 50 or 60 different types of ducks in there swimming around doing their thing. They never come out, they're very wary.
And they never even move. There's a cormorant that sits and eats. If you go virtually right up to it, it doesn't even move.
It'd be nice if we could go in there, but believe it or not, that water's probably only about 20 centimetres deep through forward. Now, step over closer to the princess, so you guys on the left can get a shot, and I'll turn around across. Nice gaggle of fishermen on the front there.
Yes.
I bet I know what they're catching. 0.
Yes. A cold. That's about it. Fish it away. There she is. Oh, no, she's going. It's been talking about fishing for a couple of days.
Gone for a cup of tea.
It's just nice and bright. Didn't know. Now, when we come alongside here, those of you on the right hand side, please keep your elbows, fingers, arms inside this vessel, because these two boats do love each other, so come together with a little kiss, and trust me, it hurts. Don't want to be going to the captain's dinner with your arm in a sling there, fingers bound up.
No seasickness. Just a lovely river.
Oh, very gentle.
Lots of photos taken. Must be the dry. Do you need a beanie?
No, I don't think anything will help my hair.
It's not the hair, it's the cold. In your ear, it's a bit.
You could do it all day.
As long as they feed her.
Get rid of those fish jumping out. Got to get the bottom of the sea.
So with that in mind, I'd like to invite you up to maybe take a photograph of the crew. They're going to get into position in a moment. They've been practicing all weekend for this. Come on, crew, into position, please. This is a big operation. These two blokes down here will do anything to get on the front page.
Sorry, Barry, I'm just... Sorry.
Well, she stands there. Off we go. Okay, Jenny, you're in the next group.
Okay, everyone say geriatric sex.
Well, thanks very much for that, ladies and gentlemen. And that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? But there is some bad... Charged to the captain's account. Thanks, Dan. And as Dan said, the proceeds of which will go to my retirement fund in a lump sum. Okay, folks, back to more serious business now, madam. It is fantastic, the way that this digital media works with photographs and all that sort of stuff. But at this point in time, it gives me great pleasure to hand the microphone over to the master of the vessel, Captain Graham Evans.
Now, I do hope you've enjoyed seeing this wonderful part of South Australia.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to show you this beautiful Murray River of ours. And I'm sure you'll agree, it's a well hidden jewel in South Australia's crown. But there's a couple of things that make this trip, and of course, one is a fantastic scenery, and the other is my crew. So I'm not going to go on too long, but just I'll keep most of my goodbyes for tomorrow. We'll see you as you head off tomorrow. Now we have some people staying on. There's a couple over here. I think most of this table over here, they're all staying on. And so you guys are heading off to the Barossa Valley tomorrow?
Yes.
And I don't know, wineries, lunch, Maggie beers.
Yep.
And, just a couple. Don't forget the chocolates for Bill. And if you happen to see Maggie, tell her there's too much sugar in the quince paste. And stand back when you tell her that. But look, if you have enjoyed yourselves, please tell all your friends. If you haven't, just keep quiet. Now, if you'll indulge me just for one more minute, because there's one other thing I have to do. My role in the company, I'm trying to retire, because it doesn't work well for me. The company could bring me back in to help train up new people, which is nice to recognise that some of us old farts know what we're doing. But I've had a great pleasure to train young Thorin here. And he's done a fantastic job, and I had even more pleasure today of signing off his master certificate. So congratulations, Captain. staying on for the rest of the week. You'll find out what this is all about later in the week. But it's been tuned by Bill. So congratulations, Thorin. That's been a pleasure. Thorin, I'm going to stay on the vessel till Friday. However, Thorin will take over as captain tomorrow. And on that note, we both agree. But enjoy your evening. Thank you very much. We've got an early start tomorrow, so we're going to pike it and get some sleep. And I'll hand you back to Bill.
Thanks very much, Captain. Congratulations, Simon, and lovely to have you on board. Thank you. Great to see you, sir. And people come through the ranks, and that is good. Okay, so we're going to get dinner service underway. I might just go through the menu with you. Tonight we've got a captain's carvery, and we'll be calling you up table by table, but in any event everybody will have plenty to eat, that's for sure. So the soup of today, or the soup of the day, is a golden veg, made with golden veg. Am I talking too fast? No. Okay. But the carvery up here, we've got roast beef. Unfortunately, the roast lamb is not available, so I'm sorry about that. But we've got roasted potatoes, carrots, pumpkin, cauliflower or gratin, and steamed broccoli and gravy, of course. But I'm sorry, but Chef only told me this just a short while ago that the roast lamb is not available. The dessert is a choice of sticky day pat pudding served with caramel sauce and ice cream, or fluffy chocolate mousse served with chantilly cream. Okay, folks, we'll be getting things organised here, and we'll get our evening service underway. Thanks very much. Thank you. Did we get that? What about you, Fred?
She's got the brains.
Okay. So, anything else?
No, that's it. No.
All right, okay. So, look, we've got a little gift for you to take away with you. And you're going to have to use your lateral thinking to work out how you want to disperse this between yourselves. But you can decide that. Yeah, all right, okay. Yeah. A very good score, 15 out of 15. That's absolutely fantastic. One of your mother or father was a history professor or something? Anyway, good on you. Fantastic. Look, I've got the answers for those that may be interested. The answers to the brain teaser quiz are up here, so those that felt that you might have been badly dealt with, that's not the case. It was a fair and unequivocal decision by the committee, which I'm the only member. Okay, let's move along. Now, talking about the fishing competition, I understand there was only one fish caught tonight, and it was a 30-centimetre carp from, is it Carol? On table 6. So Carol, come up here. We need to talk about this in depth.
My helper.
So Carol, you must have a technique for doing this.
Well, there were some beautiful men surrounding me. And they were trying very hard.
I mean, just talk about the fishing.
And what happened was that I thought I had a snag. And so I'm pulling it, and I found it very difficult. And I found this lovely man next to me, and I said, could you pull this in?
Is this wrong again?
And he came, here he is over here, and he pulled it in for me and brought it up over the top. I couldn't believe it had a fish on it. I thought it might have been an old shoe.
Did you think it was maybe another man?
All I could do was one of those. Anyway.
I can't believe this is happening.
So anyway, we measured it.
And it wasn't a man. So, where is this conversation going?
Anyway, I was the only one that caught a fish. I couldn't believe it. Not a man.
Unbelievable. What a fantastic story. Look, we've 30 centimetre carp. We've got a lovely little prize here for you. What we normally had those DVDs of Rex Hunt. We've got a little of those left. But never mind that we've got other things for you to take back. So what we've got here, we've got a little ruler so that measure the next fish you catch. Or measure the next man that comes along. We've also got a notebook so you can make a note of that. You know, the tides, the moon. And of course we've got a lovely little pen that you can write now. I'll talk about this pen. This is a limited edition pen made in northern China in the village. Designed really to write only in Chinese. But we've since found out it can write in English as well. Okay, thanks very much. Thanks. Put your hands together. No, over that way. See, you know, Carol, you know, gives away all the gifts to everybody. I don't even get a chocolate. Okay, so now the bocce. So can we talk about that for a moment? I had to disappear shortly after the start of the bocce for other reasons, which I won't discuss at the moment. I just needed to sleep. Okay, so we had two teams. It was Phil and the Portsiders, and we had Faye with her team called the Princesses. I just wonder whether we could get Faye up here, and on table 6, I believe she is, and Phil, I think he's over here on table 3. If you could come up here as well, Phil. I trust you have your acceptance speeches ready. God, you're all dressed up. You look different to what you did this afternoon. Yes, you do. That's fantastic. And it shows. Okay, Phil, in charge of the Portsiders. Now, I'm not going to share the score, but could I just ask you, Faye, what happened?
collapsed a little bit, but the girls did really well. And I'm very proud of them.
And were they working under your, complete instructions?
Oh yes, yes. They're too frightened of me to be anything else.
But I'm going to ask the question, what happened?
We just didn't make it.
No, stay there. There's more. So, Phil, you must be more than happy with today.
Very, very happy. Exceedingly happy to keep feeding on little ladies. It was good fun. It was great. It was the first time I'd ever played. I'm coming from a bloke who trained as a bowling greenkeeper. I was complaining about the green. It wasn't very good.
Fair enough. Take that on board.
If you need a greenkeeper to build one there, I'm always available. So I can come down and help you out.
We'll take that on board as well.
I only charge for meals and free drinks.
Duly noted.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so look, we do have some little gifts for you. This is for you, Val. Sorry, Val. I've got Val on my mind. No, she's your No, Faye. We did have copies of Bocce for Dummies, but unfortunately, they've gone to another Probus group.
So what do you want me to say?
You can say whatever you like, dear.
We've had a wonderful time, and congratulations to Phil and his team. Sue, was actually on our team, and I had to keep going over and preaching over to disappearing on me. But congratulations.
Wow, what a lovely thing to say. Anyway, let's play. We've got a little biro here for you, and a small gift you might want to take away with you. Okay. All right, but keep up the bocce. So, and Phil, we've got a little gift for you as well. Here we are. There we are. One of these pens made in limited edition anymore. Fantastic. So put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Faye and Phil. Marvellous. And thanks to everybody else that took part in the games this afternoon. Thank you. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. We've got desserts and they'll be coming around right now. Thank you.
Now
Voted against you. We know nothing.
Well, it's only for those who wish to participate.
Valerie, the only thing is that we won't be drinking before that. So we'll be inhibited. Inhibited.
Exactly. We'll be sober. Cold, stone, sober.
That's right. And I'll be sitting at the back of the bus.
You won't be the only one.